What's going on, guys, and welcome to Highly in Alph Gaming. I'm your host, Alph, and today we're talking about Pikmin. More specifically, Pikmin 4. Now, I absolutely love Pikmin, so I'm naturally excited to get my fix of Pikmin on the Switch. Heck, I named my channel partially after its best character. Pikmin 4 has already been confirmed to be in development multiple times if I'm correct, but it still hasn't technically been announced yet. Even still, as with my Mario Maker video, link in the description, I would like to discuss potential things to add, change, or improve upon in Pikmin 4. Without further ado, let's get started. I guess I should start by admitting that I'm not the most qualified person in the world to make this video. I adored collecting every fruit in Pikmin 3, but that's the only game in the series I've personally played. While I haven't gotten around to playing Pikmin 1 or 2, I have watched a number of videos and done some research about them, and most of my ideas stem from Pikmin 3 regardless. With that out of the way, let's look at one of the things I want to keep from Pikmin 3, the crew of the SS Drake. They could potentially add one or more additional crew members, maybe even Olimar and or Louie, but as Olimar got his own duology, I think that Charlie, Brittany, and maybe even that one guy, Alph, should get to star in at least one more game. I actually think it's very likely that we'll see the team of the SS Drake teaming up with Olimar and Louie in Pikmin 4. There is still the possibility of Nintendo completely building a new cast, but I can't really see them doing that. You never know though, I guess. The cast of characters doesn't really affect gameplay other than the potential for even more characters than usual, but it's still a fun little thing that I thought I should mention. Stemming off from the characters, I'll now go into my hopes for Pikmin 4's story. Obviously, there are an infinite number of directions Nintendo could take the story, but I have an idea for what they could do that kind of branches into multiple ideas. As Pikmin 2 was to Pikmin 1, I would have Pikmin 4 be a direct sequel to Pikmin 3. The game would start with the crew of the Drake arriving back home on their planet, Kopai, but they would soon learn that they had to return to PNF 404, and this is where my idea splits. Either something went wrong while the crew was bringing the fruits home, so they have to get more, or Kopai is overpopulated or something, so they needed to colonize PNF 404? I don't know. Either way, they end up going back to PNF 404, and so did Olimar and Louie, so they team up. However, whichever mission Alph, Brittany, and Charlie end up taking, Olimar and Louie end up trying to take advantage of it/them in order to get more treasure. They get exposed, they make up and apologize, and they team back up to fight the final boss. Obviously, this idea has no basis in an interview or announcement or anything, but I just came up with it and thought it would be a cool idea for Pikmin 4's story. Aside from specifics, I do want Nintendo to keep the story in Pikmin 4 similar to Pikmin 3's in pace. In Pikmin 3, something is always happening, which is obviously very interesting. Whether it's the crew getting separated again, or Olimar stealing your food, or the Olimar they thought was Olimar really being Louie, even though Pikmin fans would have already known that, these constant plot events keep the story moving. I certainly prefer this to something like Pikmin 1, for instance, where the only quote-unquote story events are unlocking new areas. I would be really sad if they held back on Pikmin 4's story here, because they nailed the amount and pacing of story in Pikmin 3. It moved along at the perfect pace, ending at the right time, and not getting in the way of the gameplay. I know that everyone feels different about this sort of thing, but if I'm being honest, Pikmin 3 has one of the best stories in any game I've ever played. In something like Super Mario 64, the gameplay is pretty much the only reason to play. Then in other games, the story drags on and has you boredly wishing for some more gameplay. Pikmin 3, though, is interestingly written and has incredible pacing, so I would be beyond disappointed if they didn't pace it similarly in Pikmin 4. Moving on from story, the next thing I'd like to talk about is Pikmin 4's controls. I don't think many people would disagree that pointer controls have worked very well for previous installments in the Pikmin series, but I don't think they'd be able to work as well as they did before. The Switch doesn't have a sensor bar like the Wii and Wii U did, so actual pointer controls may not be possible. However, I think that Nintendo could experiment with using gyro aiming for the cursor to throw Pikmin, and it would center at the press of a button, similar to the in-battle map screen in Splatoon 2. I'm not sure if this would work, but it would still be interesting. If all else fails, they could always go back to the OG controls where you pretty much just aim in front of you with the occasional exception. Aside from the Pikmin throwy cursor, there's not really much I would change about Pikmin's established controls. Another big thing that I wonder about in Pikmin 4 is what types of Pikmin it will feature. Obviously, they'll keep the original red, yellow, and blue, but beyond that, everything is just speculation. Pikmin 2 had 5 Pikmin types, the previously mentioned 3 along with white and purple, and Pikmin 3 swapped out the 2 new ones for rock Pikmin and winged Pikmin, also totaling 5 Pikmin types. If I were to guess, I would say that Pikmin 4 will continue this trend of having 5 different Pikmin types by swapping out the 2 new types from the last game. Any more types and you could only have a few Pikmin of each type in your squad at any given time. They could potentially handle more than 5 Pikmin types by increasing the limit of Pikmin on the field, but there's part of of me that can't see them doing that. If they wanted more than 100 Pikmin on the field at the same time on the GameCube but couldn't do it because of the tech, they probably would have increased the max number of Pikmin in Pikmin 3. Anything's possible though, so we very well could see hundreds of Pikmin of several varieties in Pikmin 4. If they keep up the 5 Pikmin type trend I suggested earlier, then I have some ideas of what the 2 newcomer types of Pikmin could be. Maybe they could add sticky Pikmin so they would stick together to form a sort of ladder for other Pikmin, and also be harder for enemies to shake off. Or how about torch Pikmin who could catch on fire and burn things down? I also could see them adding the burning things feature to red Pikmin. Maybe they could even build off of the concept of white Pikmin being poisonous by having them poison anything they attack without needing to be eaten. There are lots of other cool Pikmin ideas I won't mention, but if you have an extra cool idea, remember to tell me in the comments below. Anyway, Pikmin types aren't the only new gameplay element I'm going to be talking about. Another one is bosses, something Pikmin 3 handled fantastically. Each main area had 1 or 2 main bosses, and almost all of them felt unique and fun to battle. In Pikmin 4, I want to see them do more or less the same thing, obviously with different bosses. All I want is for them to continue to make the bosses feel unique and require the use of different Pikmin types. That's what made Pikmin 3's bosses so great, so I expect them to live up to that standard again for Pikmin 4. That's about all I have to say about bosses though, so on to the next topic. Okay, so bonus modes. The mission mode in Pikmin 3 was extremely fun, but I'd like to see them do a few things to expand upon it and make it even better. First off, I don't want them to lock most of the mission mode stages behind DLC. I wouldn't have a huge problem with some of them being locked off, but Pikmin 3 really just had a few sample levels and basically made you pay for the mode. The mode was enormously fun other than that though, even though I wasn't willing to buy the rest of the stages, and it even has 3 categories: collect treasure, battle enemies, and defeat bosses. Collect treasure was by far my favorite of the modes, mostly because collecting stuff and exploring is 85% of why I love Pikmin. In this mode, you, and a friend if you so choose, have a limited amount of time to collect as much gold and fruit as possible. When time runs out, you are given a score and a ranking: bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. This is how all 3 of the mission modes work at a basic level, only with other goals than collecting fruit and treasure, obviously beating enemies and fighting bosses. As a side note, the Fight Bosses mode seems to have disappeared from Pikmin 3 since I started work on this video, and I can't find anything online about it being removed. I don't know, I'm probably just too stupid to find it. Anyway, these modes are a ton of fun, especially if you have a friend to play them with you. I've heard people say that they don't like these mission modes because of the strict time limit, but I always thought this was a bit weird, as Pikmin in general is about efficiently managing time for each day. Either way, I definitely want to see this mission mode return in Pikmin 4, but with even more options for time limit, difficulty, etc. They could even add optional restrictions, like a limited number of Pikmin to spawn. Pikmin 3 also has another bonus mode called Bingo Battle. In this mode, you and a friend are put up against each other with a handful of Pikmin, along with various enemies, treasures, and fruits. At the start, you are each given a 4x4 board in the bottom right corner of the screen with 16 unique different pictures, each representing a different one of the enemies, treasures, or fruits in the level. You then use your separate groups of Pikmin to bring back treasure and enemies to your onion. When you bring back an enemy, fruit, or treasure, the corresponding square will be filled in on your board. The first player to fill in 4 squares in a row wins, and I've gotta say, this mode was way more fun than I expected. When I first got Pikmin 3, I thought Bingo Battle sounded dumb, so I didn't play it. Then I decided to play it so I could talk about it in this video, and I love it now. I definitely want to see this mode be brought back in Pikmin 4, especially if they add a bunch of new cool options and features to expand it. I never used to be interested in Pikmin's bonus modes, but now I'm excited beyond words for what they come up with in Pikmin 4. Okay, I think that about wraps it up. This video ended up going on a bit longer than I expected, so if you stuck around this long, I want to sincerely thank you for watching. I know it kinda turned into more of a review for Pikmin 3 a little bit at the end, but that's just because I loved so much about Pikmin 3 that I would be sad to see go in Pikmin 4. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and tell me your hopes for Pikmin 4 down in the comments below. See you next time, and have a great day.